स्टार्ट बटन दबा दें हम भी?
नहीं सर, कर दिया मैंने।
अच्छा अच्छा, इसमें
यस सर, यू आर लाइव।
हाँ. Good afternoon to all of you. I am Dr. Misra here, and we welcome you in the session 3 of business statistics class. And if you will refer the agenda which I have already pasted on the Padlet platform, you will find that the session 3, today's session 3, you will learn about the descriptive statistics, chapter 3, and the chapter 3 is a central tendency. You will learn central tendency, and you will also learn the variance and how to calculate the different type of central tendency like mean, median, mode, and the variance, variance, and standard deviation. These are the things we will cover today. That is your unit 3 in the in this course of business statistics. We are trying to share the first we will share you the show you the Padlet platform wherein we have already given you a roadmap how to go ahead, and then we will start the PowerPoint, and then we will learn using Excel how to calculate it. So this is a 1 hour journey, and in this 1 hour journey we will complete unit 3 together. So we welcome you. I am going to share you the screen. Can you see all of you the screen now? Here we have shared you the Padlet platform, and you people, whatever you have already, some of you have shared the OGIF chart of the previous class. Here, I have already shared you the session plan, because all of you know that we, in the class schedule you are getting session 3 will be covered today, and Sunday class you will learn session 3 and 4. So what is this session and what are the things is covered? So we have already made a lesson plan, detailed planning here, session plan, and as per this session plan you have to learn. So today is the OLS number 3, and you are going to learn unit 3, numerical descriptive measures. Here you will learn, you can see the instruction. Here we will teach you the, you will learn central tendency using Excel. That is the main objective here to learn. So all these things we have already uploaded in Padlet, and it is there on the LMS and timetable also that we have shown here. Secondly, all of you may think of the timetable we have already placed here. Secondly, because you are going to learn unit 3, so unit 3 PowerPoint I have already placed here beforehand. So all of you just go on the top that I am showing you. Link I have already published that you can refer it. And here is the slide. Total slide in this PowerPoint is total 72 slides is there. 72 slides we are not going to cover in this 1 hour journey. This is for learning how you have to learn in detail. That's why I prepared 172 slides. We will cover more or less 1 or 2 slides, then Excel sheets, and then I will write on the whiteboard. And because objective is to make learning more comfortable. So these 1 to 72 slides numerical descriptive measure have been given here, and it is being uploaded. You just download chapter 3 slides either from this platform, and it is already there. You will get in the LMS also. This is there, and you can start from this journey. At the end of this session, we have to do a multiple choice questions. So I have already put up a multiple choice question here, MCQ for your test. Once you will complete the journey of whole 1 hour, then you have to go to this platform here, and we have uploaded a unit 3 questions, certain questions. You just click on like I have given in perfectly symmetrical bell-shaped normal distribution, what is the correct option that you have to please? I have already given only 2 questions. So 2 questions is sufficient to test your detailed concept of the chapter number 3, unit 3. If you will correctly answer these 2 questions, you can ensure that you have a score, you have a in-depth understanding of unit 3. So this is all about the things. One of the interesting thing here in this platform, as I told in the beginning also, that here is a plus sign, and you also write at your end, and I am writing here, you also write at there, and you can write the reflection at the end of this session. Once you will go through the session 3, write a reflection, write a reflection of this class, as I told you, in 100 words. In 100 words, write a reflection of this class in 100 words. I am asking the reflection of the session 3, the session 3 which we are going to learn, OLS 3 once. Instead of that, OLS 3 I am writing, OLS 3 which we are going to take today. So this is the things I am expecting from everyone, and this is the roadmap I have already shown you. All of you have got the link. If you are not able to get the link, you know my mobile number, you know my email ID, you can write through team also, and I will share you once again. So that is the journey of what you are doing. You are quite enjoy that most of you are doing exercise, and these exercise are already there, and you can refer how your friends have done the previous class exercise, and what they are writing, how they are doing. These all are available to all of you, which whoever is joining. So this is a common platform, all of us we will use. So let us come to the PowerPoint slides, and we are going to discuss here. And today you are going to learn the numerical and descriptive measures. I'm just going to expand these slides little bit so that you can see in a bigger size. Here in this chapter, session 3, we are going to just start the session 3. If you will refer, please give me this book up. If you will refer the SLM, which I am showing here, this SLM, and the session 3 is a numerical descriptive measure, right? And the learning objective of this chapter have been given on the page number 85. Numerical descriptive measure. Describe the properties of central tendency, variance, and shape in the numerical variables. Construct and interpret a box plot. Compute the descriptive summary measures for a population, and calculate the covariance and coefficient of correlation. This is the objective of this unit, and which is being elaborated here also in this page number 85, learning objectives. And I am just going to explain you one by one what you are going to learn now. Central tendency. If you have a data, and if you want to know what is the center point of that particular data, then that is called central tendency. More or less, if you know what is the central tendency, center point maybe we will explain you what is this center point is all about. Central point is the extended to which the values of numerical variable groups around a typical or a center value. Central value means midpoint. What is the midpoint of your data set? Variance means is the amount how much the data is spreaded around the from the center point. That if you want to know the spreading of data from the center point, then you have to calculate the variation and variation, and then variation to variance, and variance to standard deviation. This is the things we will come across. Now, the first and most important thing under the central tendency, three things are there which is common in the central tendency, that you can see: mean. All of you please note down. If you want to know the center position of any data set, three things we have to calculate. First is mean. Am I clear? Second one is median. Please note down, all of you. And third one is called mode. I'm writing here on this PPT itself. Mean, median, and mode. Mean, in the common word, all of you know, mean is also known as average. Am I clear? Median is the 50% position. Suppose if you have 20 data, if you have a salary data of all employees of your organization, you put the salary data in a ascending order, and then the middle point of that data set, 50% point of the data set, is called the median. For example, if in your organization 100 employees there, and if you are saying that the median is 5,000 rupees, then you can say that 50 employee in your organization is having the salary less than 5,000, and 50 employees in your organization is having the salary more than 5,000. So this is also a central tendency, and this is called median. Am I clear? Secondly, the mode. Mode means the most dominant class. Suppose if I'm saying that the mode is 7,000 in your company. Am I clear? So it means you can say the maximum employee in your organization is getting a salary of 7,000. Most of the time, the mode is a dominant category in the organization. For example, if I am saying the diploma holder is the mode class in the organization, means maximum people in your organization is having the qualification diploma. So that is the dominant class. Am I clear? So that is the meaning of mode. So mean means average, median means 50% point, and mode means dominant class. Most the class which is having the highest frequency. I think it is very clear to all of you what three type of central tendencies there: mean, median, and mode. If you see in the PowerPoint, what I have done is, if you recall the previous class, you have the population. Suppose in your organization there are 5,000 employees working, then capital N is 5,000, and that is called population. Out of this 5,000, if you have taken 50 as a sample, so that is your small n. Am I clear? So if you are calculating the mean, means average of the sample, then it is called sample mean. Am I clear? Sample mean. And if you are calculating the average of the population, then it is called population mean. All of you please note down whatever I am writing on the population mean. Sample mean is represented by a symbol x bar, and population mean is represented by a symbol mu. Am I clear? This is the difference between population mean and sample mean. Here in this formula, if suppose if you have a salary data of 5 employee, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 4 employee salary data is there, and if I will tell you this is a sample of how many sample is there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So a small n is 4. So what is the x bar? So x bar, as per this formula, you see x1 plus x2 plus x2 summation xi, I is equal to 1 to n divided by a small n. So the sample mean is add all 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 and divide it by 4. You will get the sample mean. Similarly, if I will tell you you have to find out the population mean mu, in that case, what you have to do is you have to add all the salary of an employee and divide it by capital N, means you have to divide by 5,000, and whatever value it will come, that is called mu. Mu is called the population mean. That is the difference between sample mean and population mean. And formula is same. If you have the formula x bar is equal to summation xi upon n is the formula for sample mean, and for the population mean, what is the formula? Summation of xi is equal to 1 to capital N. Here you see the in the previous one a small n is there. Here it is capital N. Divide x all sum of all xi and divide it by capital N. So you will get a population mean. So that is the method of calculating the population mean and sample mean. Population mean is called x bar and sample mean is called mu. There in this PowerPoint slide, if you will refer all the 172 PowerPoint slide which we have mentioned, we have given lot of illustration which will help you to understand how to calculate the mean. You see here, if we have the population data in this here, all the population data is there in this particular slides I have taken. All the population data 11, 12, 13 in a ordered array I have taken. Am I clear? And then I have identified a sample 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. I find out the median because I ordered it. You see here the difference. First of all, mean I have calculated here in this PowerPoint slides. I added all 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and divided by 5. I got 65 by 5, 13. So average is 13. But in the second scenario where the sample remains 5, but the sample respondent value changed from 15, we taken another sample as 20. So once the sample respondent is changing, the average is changing in this category. So the most important thing in the mean is most common measure of the central tendency average. It is affected by the extreme values. That is very important. Extreme outlier. Now coming to the median, as I told, it is a 50% point. So the 50% above and 50% below, what you have to do is whatever the population data is there or the sample data is there, you put it in the ascending order and descending order in the Excel sheet and find out the exactly 50% point, count it and take the exactly 50% point, you will get a median. So less sensitive then, so it is the 50% point. How do we have to find out the median? We have to find out the median by using a very important thing. Median position is n plus 1 by 2. Position is the ordered array. You put an ordered array, n plus 1th position you have to put. If the number of value is odd, suppose your n is 25, so odd. But in case if your n is 24, so if you will apply this, it is not so if the number of value is even, the median is average of the two middle numbers. In the center position, whatever the average of the two middle numbers is there, that you have to take it. Suppose you have taken suppose 10, 15, 20 and 25 is number, and you want to find out the median. So here is the median is median. Which one is the median class? So you have to take the two number here, 15 and 20. So take 15 plus 20 and divide it by 2. So you will get around at 2.5. So 17.5 is the median class of these this data set. Am I clear? So because why you have taken the 2 1? Because if the two numbers of a value is even, the median is the average of the two middle class of a number. This way you have to calculate the median. Am I clear? Fine. So this is the, as I told, the median is the 50% above and 50% below. Mode is the dominant class. In this particular data set, if you see the 9 is having the highest frequency in this whole data set. Of course, 5 is having 2 frequency. So which one is the dominant class in this category? 9. So 9 is the mode, right? But sometime if you find here in this particular case, there are all are having 1 1, so no mode is there. But let us take an example. That 12 is also having one more frequency is there. So in this case, you have two modes, 9 and 12. So this data set, we can say it is a bimodular data set. Bimodular. Bimodular means two groups are dominating in this organization. So if you have, which one is better? The organization which is having a single mode. If it is having a two mode, means the chances of groupism and fight is more. So bimodular class is always bad. So what is the best situation here? As you have already learned, we learned mean, how to calculate mean is the average, median, and mode. So for a normal business, which one is better? For a normal business, please note down all of you, mean, median, and mode. All three is having at the mean have to be equal to mode have to be equal to median. If this condition is fulfilling, then we can say my business is a normal, or it is one of the most important condition of a normal distribution of a business, normal business. So the first important thing for if business is said to be normal only when mean, median, and mode are at the same point. Please note down. Very good learning of the day. The first learning of the day. You learned how to calculate mean. You learned how to calculate mode. You learned how to calculate median. But why we should calculate mean, median, mode? To see that whether my business is a normal business or an abnormal business. So business is said to be a normal because you are learning business management. So please note down, business is said to be a normal only when the data is symmetrically distributed on both sides of the central tendency. Please note down. And once I am saying central tendency means, and business is said to be normal only when mean, median, and mode are at the same point. Central tendency here mean is equal to median, median is equal to mode. Mode, median, all are at the same point, and data is symmetrically distributed on both sides of the central tendency. Now, once I am saying the normal business means mean, median, mode are at the same point. So business is said to be a normal only when average salary also have to be 5,000. The mean salary have to be 5,000. Median salary have to be 5,000. And the mode salary also have to be 5,000. Then the business is said to be a normal business. That is the most important condition you have learned. And you also learned how to calculate mean, how to calculate median, and how to calculate mode. We will explain you how you have to calculate, and the formula for calculating mean I have already explained. How to calculate mean, median, mode, and with illustration in this particular chapter. If you will refer one by one page, you will find with formula we have given, and we have given with the illustration also. So please refer each and every page from page number 85 onward, and some exercise I have given on the page number 86. If you will refer mean and their formula for calculation, and some exercise we have given to you. For median on the page number 88, we have given how to calculate median, and with exercise we have given to you. For mode also, how to find out the mode we have given, and we have also explained it. In this particular, I have given you some illustration in this PowerPoint slide, which you can refer after this class in the, you have a time. Measures of central tendency, how to find the mean, how to find median, and how to find mode. Now mean, median, mode I have already explained. We have already explained you how to find the two important things have been given here. One is common average, is a mean is called arithmetic mean. Two other mean I have explained in this SLM, that is harmonic mean and the geometrical mean also, which is given on the page number 89, and 90. I'm referring the book for you. And here is the method I have explained you. Other than mean, median, mode, three other important terms, statistical quantities are used to understand the central tendency. One is called geometrical mean, used to measure the rate of change of a variable over time. Geometrical mean measures the status of investment over a time. Like this is the formula, you can see the three different value of investment is there, and you can find out the arithmetic mean is 0.25. Here we have calculated the geometrical mean, you can refer, and we have used this formula and we found our, in this case, in the case like the financial planning cases, here the arithmetical mean will not give you a accurate picture. Therefore, we have to find out the geometrical mean by using this given formula. Rg is equal to 1 plus R1 into 1 plus R2 n to the power 1 by n minus 1. We use this formula here in this PowerPoint and in the book also. You refer this PowerPoint slide, and we have calculated. So in this particular scenario, if you will see in this particular case study that an investment of $1 lakh declined to 50,000 at the end of a year one, and rebound to 1 lakh at the end of year two. So more or less, first year you invested $100,000. Second year it reduced to 50,000, and a third year again it become $100,000. So the first year investment decreased by 50%, and second year investment it increased by 50%. So the overall 2 years return, if you see, because you have invested $100,000, and at the end of 2 years your money is $100,000 only, so practically you can see that there is no return. So our 2 years return is zero. But mathematically, from a statistical point of view, in this case you try to understand, if I am trying to calculate arithmetically the first year average, what is the average return? So if you will calculate the mean average, then you have to add the first year minus 50%, means the decrease minus 0.5 is the return, and in the second year 100% return is there, so plus 1 and divided by 2. As you know, the mean we have to calculate. So you are getting 25% return. So absolutely wrong. Practically it is zero. So the only method which is helping you in the case of financial calculation is geometrical mean. So we have used this formula, and you can see here you will get the 0. 1 plus R1 plus R2 into so on, so 1 plus Rn to the power 1 by n. So the first year return is 1 minus 0.5 into 1 plus 1. So 0.5 into 1 plus 1 is 2. So it is, and minus 1. So 0.5 into 2. So 0.5 into 2 to the power whole square root, if you will take, you will get 1 itself, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So this is the overall return. If you calculate the geometrical mean, you are getting 0. Am I clear? Now coming to the, I'm just trying to encapsulate what we have learned just now. We have learned the central tendency. Central tendency are arithmetic mean, middle point in ordered array is called median, that we have learned. Dominant class you learned is a mode, and the rate of change of a variable over a time, 1 plus R1 into 1 plus R2 into so on, so 1 plus Rn to the power 1 by n minus 1 is the geometrical mean. So this is the things you learned about the central tendency. Now let us try to understand the second learning objective of this chapter. All of you please try to understand the second important thing. As you know, for a normal business, if you will see here in the normal business curve, here is your here is the red point I am showing. Mean, median and mode all are at the same point. Now, if I'm saying that this is your whole business data and you have already calculated mean, median, mode, and this is your central tendency point. And if you are saying that, for example, let us take a case of fruity Tetra Pak 160 ml. All of you are know fruity, all of you have already drinked fruity. So fruity, on the top of fruity Tetra Pak, it is written the packet contains 160 ml. All of you try to understand with a business case. 160 ml means average weight, their median weight, their mode weight is 160 ml. Am I clear? That is the specification written on the Tetra Pak. Am I clear? That is the central tendency. And every day, the Parle Agro, which manufacture a brand fruity product, manufacture millions of fruity Tetra Pak of 160 ml. Are you thinking all the Tetra Pak contains exactly 160 ml? Absolutely not. All of you can think that every day a company manufactured millions of Tetra Pak of 160 ml. So it cannot be possible that all will manufacture the same 160 ml. There are some packet which may contains 165 ml, 166 ml, 161 ml, like that, and may contain 159 ml, 160.0 ml, like that. This whole basket contains. So there must be little variation in the measurement. Point fraction of variation, maybe ml variations is there, because it cannot be possible to exactly fill 160 ml in almost all the millions of Tetra Pak. So you are claiming that my packet contains 160 ml. That is the central tendency. That is mean, median, mode of the packet. But all packets that don't contains exactly same. Some are having more than 160 ml. Some are having less than 160 ml. Am I with you? So there must be a highest value. There must be a lowest value. Am I clear? So maybe the highest value is 165 ml and lowest value is 155 ml. That is the company have decided that if a packet, after production, if you check the quality and you observe that if a packet is containing more than 155 and between 165, it is the quality pack, and if it is below 155, it is underweight, and reject that. So this particular basket, what I have made here with a red circular basket, that is the boundary wall of your correction. And 155 ml is the lowest cutoff LC, and 165 ml is the highest cutoff value. So R is another. So the difference between the highest value and lowest value is called range. That is also what is the range of fruity pack. So you can say highest value minus lowest value, you can calculate, and you can find 165 and 155, and R you can say it is 165 minus 155. Am I clear? So this is one type of, and that is, I think it is a 10 ml is my range of the company. So there are three another variation measurement techniques are to understand the variation of any product and services of your company. Another type of statistical quantities are also used, like variance, standard deviation, and coefficient of variance. All three I'm going to explain, and then we will conclude the journey of this chapter. One by one I am trying to explain. Range is clear to all of you. Range we have to calculate by using R, and variance. Now coming to the how to calculate the variance. I'm coming to the next slide here. Range you have seen. Largest x largest minus x smallest, that I have explained to you. It is clear. Now coming to the how to find out. Range is clear. Now I'm coming to explain you the how to find out the variance. Here a very simple formula I am trying to explain with the help of one graph. Suppose your central tendency is this. You are saying 160 ml, that is the central tendency mean, X bar. Some product is having the weight X1, some product is having the weight X2, and some product is having the weight X3. So what is the variation of weight of X3 and the central tendency? You can easily say the variation of weight is X3 minus X bar. Am I right? Variation of weight from X1 and central tendency is X1 minus X bar. That this is the variation. So what is the total variation? Who will say? Total variation is, if I will say the formula for finding out the variation is Xi minus X bar. Am I clear? And the total variation, some variation, if you find it is, if this variation is 161 and your packet is 160 ml, so X3 minus X3 minus X bar is 1 ml, whereas X2 minus X bar, suppose this is 159 ml, so 159 minus 160, so variation between the X2 and X bar is minus 1 ml. So if you will find out the total variation of this basket, some variations V1, V2, you have to take add all the variations. Am I right? So we can say total variation is the sum of all BI. Am I right? And if you add all the variation, there are some variations are positive and some variations are negative. So total variation is always 0. Am I right? To eliminate the variation, a new concept have been incorporated. Either it is minus or plus. If you take the square of this, if you will take the square of all the variation, then what will happen? Either it is minus 1 ml or 1 ml. It will become minus 1 ml will also become 1 ml itself. So if you are squaring the variation, we have the statistician have given a name and they called it is variance. So variation, a square of variance is called variance. Am I clear? So variance is the square of variation. So if you take the Xi minus X bar whole square, so this is your variance. And if you want to find out the average variance, then what you have to do? You have to divide it by the sum. Either if you are going to find out the average variance of whole population, then you have to sum all the variance and divide it by capital N. And if you want to find out the average variance of only the population, only the sample size, then you have to divide it by small n minus 1. Am I clear? Minus 1 because 1 is a frame degree of freedom. Degree of freedom for any sample size is n minus 1. One value is always fixed, 160 ml. One you kept as a ideal 160 ml in the sample size, and other is can only change. One is a one packet, it is at the center position, that value is cannot change. That's why we have taken divided by n minus 1 instead of capital N. So this is the way you can find out, and the simple variance is represented by a symbol S square. And if you want to find out the population variance, this is sample variance. If you want to find out the population variance, please note down all of you. If you want to find out the population variance, then the Greek term is used. It is called sigma square. Please note down, this is called sigma square, and sigma square is equal to summation Xi minus X bar whole square divided by capital N. This is the difference between S square, small s square, and sigma square. Sigma square is called population variance and S square is called sample variance. Am I clear? Now, if you will take the square root of this both side, if you take the square root of this sample variance and a square root of population variance, a square root of sigma and a square root of s, so a square root of s square will become s, and a square root of sigma square will become sigma. So this sigma is called population's standard deviation. Please note down, all of you. Population's standard deviation, and small s is called sample's standard deviation. And this sigma is called this is the small s, sample's standard deviation. This is the formula for sample standard deviation. And what is the formula for population standard deviation? Population standard deviation is represented by sigma. And what is the formula for population standard deviation? Please note down, all of you. A square root of summation xi minus x bar whole square divided by capital N. And this sigma, what you are calling this sigma, because of that in the business you are using 6 sigma. 6 multiplied by sigma. 6 sigma is a philosophy, 6 sigma is a practice. We are doing the business, and here 6 is a number, and this sigma is a population's standard deviation. That is the practice you are doing. So here 6 sigma practice, all of you are already knowing. They are going, what type of company you have? My company is a 6 sigma company, and this sigma 6 is a number, and this sigma stands for this, and this sigma is a population standard deviation. So 6 multiplied by population standard deviation is the practice. So you learned range, how to calculate range. You learned how to calculate the variation. You learned why we have to go for variance, because total variation is always 0. That's why we have to square it. You learned how to calculate the population variance and the sample variance, s square and sigma square. Then you also learned how to find out the population standard deviation and sample standard deviation. So this is some illustrations are given in this PowerPoint slide, and you can refer it PowerPoint, and you can develop your understanding how to calculate standard deviation, how to calculate population standard deviation, and all. So this is all about the different type of variance that we have covered. Now the last important, you have learned range, R. You have learned sigma square. Sigma square means population's variance. You have learned s square, sample variance. You have learned sigma, population's standard deviation. You have learned s, sample standard deviation. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different type of variation you have learned. Now the last type of variation which is being discussed here in this unit is measure of variance, is coefficient of variation. Please note down, all of you. Very important term, coefficient of variation, not so difficult. Coefficient of variance is represented by a symbol CB, and it is nothing but the ratio. You take the ratio of standard deviation, small s. Small s means sample standard deviation, and divide it by the sample mean x bar and multiply it by 100. So you will get the 100 means in that, because you want in the terms of percentage, that's why you're multiplying with 100. So coefficient of variance is the ratio of standard deviation and the mean. Now, if I want to find out the coefficient of variance of, this is a coefficient of variance of a sample. If I want to find out the coefficient of variance of a population, then in that case, we have to divide the sigma upon mu. Mu means population mean, and multiply it by 100. Then you will get the coefficient of variance. Certain illustrations I have given, and a case study I have given to you in the PowerPoint slide. Why the coefficient? What is the use of calculating the coefficient of variance in the business? Because we want to understand about this in the particularly it is being used in the financial market, to understand how the stock market is behaving. I have taken 2 stocks. Suppose the stock A is a State Bank of India, and stock B is a ICICI Bank. So I want to know which stock is doing better. In this case study, you try to understand. So first of all, what I have done is I have calculated the mean of the last year price of a State Bank, and a State Bank stock price I have calculated by using the formula sigma xi by capital 365 days, because 1 year data is there. So every day what is their stock price of a State Bank of India, I used summation xi upon 365, we got 50 rupees. Then I also use a standard deviation. Standard deviation, I used a formula. S is equal to, what is the formula? Summation xi minus x bar, all days, x bar whole square. X bar you are already calculated here. So that we have done. And then you divided by n minus 1, means 365 minus 1. And you got the standard deviation. Suppose a standard deviation you got $5. Now you can find out the coefficient of variance, and I have already calculated the coefficient of variance, and coefficient of variance of the State Bank of India is 10%. Now ICICI Bank, same manner I calculated. I got the some x bar. X bar is by using this 365, 100 rupees is the average last price. Last year's average was 100 rupees. It is better, and the standard deviation is 5. So but the coefficient of variance is 5%. So now I am just because it is an analysis. So you have done an analysis, and here you have calculated the coefficient of variance of SBI stock and coefficient of variance of ICICI stock. Yeah, and in first case, SBI coefficient of variance is 10%. ICICI coefficient of variance is 5%. Now we have to give the interpretation. Both stock have the same standard deviation, 5% and 5 rupees, $5 and $5. But stock B is less variable. Stock B is less variable because the coefficient of variance in the stock B is 5%, means less fluctuating. Less fluctuating stock is ICICI Bank. Stock B is less fluctuating in compared to the SBI stock, because the fluctuation of SBI is 10% and annual fluctuation of ICICI Bank is 5%. So which one is more stable? Which one is more stable? You can easily say that the ICICI Bank SBI stock B is more better. So here you say you have calculated central tendency, you have calculated standard deviation also, but you cannot able to decide till you have not calculated the coefficient of variance, whether the stock is fluctuating or least fluctuating or high fluctuating. So this is a case study. We are concluding here with the discussion of this chapter. The last coefficient of variance is a very important terminology, which is very important to understand whether my business is sustainable, and one can the business is continuously sustain, or it is on the high risk. That you can understand only when you can calculate the coefficient of variance. Now, because the last topic, which is also being incorporated, we have incorporated in this, after coefficient of variance, we have incorporated one more term on the page number 100, that is Z-score, and time and again we will try to explain you Z-score. So to compute the Z-score of a data value, subtract the mean and divide by the standard deviation. The Z-score is the number of standard deviation data x minus. So the formula for finding out the Z value, Z is also an important term. You find out the Z minus x bar upon S. Suppose, for example, if you are working in a company where average working hour is 8 hours, where we are going to use the Z-score. Average working hour is Z hours. And the standard deviation of working hour is 1 hour, right? And if you want to know how many percentage of people are working in your organization more than 10 hours, am I clear? This is the case study. So you have, in this case, you have to use the Z-score. So calculate the Z. 10 minus 8 divided by 1. 10 is the X. 8 hour is the average working hour. 8. And 1 hour is the standard deviation. So I have just calculated my Z value is 2. So Z, if my Z value is 2, their pertinent percentage you can get, and that you can get it by using a Z distribution table. Z distribution table, you have to get it. Go to the Google, and here you can see that in the Z distribution table, my Z value is, suppose here is the Z where 2. So this area is how much percentage that you can get from the Z distribution table. I'm requesting all of you to get the Z distribution table. We have already, I think, shared you the, if I have not shared you the Z distribution table, I will put the Z distribution on the Padlet. But anyway, if you want to see where you will get the Z distribution table, for that purpose, I'm just trying to take you to I'm just trying to show you from where you will get the Z distribution table. All of you open the Google. Right here, Z distribution table. Distribution table. Here you will get the Z distribution, normal Z distribution table. Click it here. I will upload this Z distribution table also on the Padlet, but you just see the Z distribution table. And for Z, my Z value at 95% confidence level, here you see is 0.95% confidence level, means 0.05, means at 0.052 value. 0.05 is in which column? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 column. So 6th column 0.05. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 column 0.47. So here is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4798 is given. So your pertinent means half of the employees are working. 4798 means approximately 50%. So we can conclude from here that half of the employees are working more than 10 hours. So this is a table is there that you can learn. Now let us come to the Excel. We have a few minutes only. And in this few minutes time, I will explain you how to use Excel to calculate the mean, median and mode. Let us try to, I'm just trying to open a new Excel. All of you please see here. New sheet for all of you. Blank sheet. Right? Can you see all of you? I'm just going to enter few age data of the respondent because time is very less. So that's why I'm taking here. Few data I have taken just to know how to calculate the. This is the data I have taken. This is the age data of any class, of your class, and I wanted to find out mean first in Excel. So how we will find the mean of this, because it is a sample data, and we want to find out the mean of this data set. So we have to use you have the formula. You can take the sum of this data and divide the number of observation. By that way also you can calculate. But if Excel is having a function, average function is there. You can use this average function and select all the average data set here. You can I will upload it here on the Padlet. You can practice at your end. This is the mean we have got. So mean means average central tendency of this data set is 27.5. So what is the average value? Average age is 27.5. Now I'm going to find out the median data. Median of this data set. I have written a median equal to sign, write median function. Median is a function here. MEDIAN. All of you please note down. Select all the data set. Here we have limited data set. If you have a big data set, you select it and press enter. you will get the median. So 25 is the median. It means there are equal number of people in this data set having the age more than 25 years, and equal number of people in this organization in this data set is having the age less than 25. So this is the way how Excel is helping us in finding out the mean. Now you can find out the standard deviation also, because standard deviation is a very important term I have already explained to you. So standard deviation we can find out. Standard deviation you can find by using a function std. Standard deviation stdev is the function I have already selected here. All of you please see, stdev is the function. You select all the data sets and you can find out. You can use the formula also, as I told, that a square root of summation xi minus x bar whole square divided by n minus 1. That formula you can use and calculate. Average stdev function is there. This function is also helping you to find out the standard deviation of the data set. Now you can find out the covariance. That is a very important thing. You can find out the covariance by standard deviation divided. You can take inside the bracket the standard deviation divided by the mean, and close the bracket and multiply it by 100. So the covariance of this data is 23.71% of this data set. Covariance of this data set. Covariance we are using to compare the two data set. Here we have only one data set, so there is no requirement as such to find out the covariance. But if you want to compare two different data set together, in that case you have to use the covariance to understand the which data set is more dispersed and which data set is less dispersed. That is the way we can see and we can calculate the covariance. Mode also you have learned today, and mode we can calculate using Excel. And here is the mode. You can write equal to sign and mode function is there. You can pick the mode function from Excel, select all the data set and close the basket and say goodbye with which one is the dominant data in this data set. 24 is having the highest frequency in the data set. You can find out also. So dominant age in this data set is 24. With this I have whatever we have learned, we have encapsulated. We have learned how to find out using Excel. That also I have demonstrated to you. Now the most important tips of the day, which you note down because you learned how to find out through Excel. Now the most important tips of the day that I'm going to explain you, and for that purpose I'm going to use the Word document wherein we will write the things. New blank document I'm using and I'm writing here. The most important learning of the day is, please note down, business is said to be normal. Please note down all of you, only when number 1, mean is equal to median is equal to mode. Am I clear? Number 2, here is the normal business graph. Mean, median, mode is at the same point is equal to mu. Data is symmetrically both sides. It is data set. Data, please note down, have to be, number 2 condition, have to be symmetrically. I am writing symmetrical distribution means as per the graph both sides from the center symmetrically. Please note down, distributed on both sides of the central tendency. All of you please note down, and I request one of you please note down this and put up on the Padlet also. Symmetrically distributed on both sides of the central tendency. Central tendency means mu. Am I clear? This is a third important point, and the third important point, please note down. Graph I am already showing. Third important point, please note down all of you. Data, the skewness of the data set. Skewness means have to be 0. Number 4, kurtosis, and that you have to correlate when you will read the, because this is a learning class. I'm giving kurtosis have to be 3. These are the, and for a normal revisionist, last point, confidence level. Please note down, confidence level have to be how much? 95%. Means if you are manufacturing 100 product, what is the meaning of this confidence level? CL is 95%, means if you are manufacturing 100 unit, or if you are giving a service to 100 people, then you can expect 95 people are satisfied and 5 people are not satisfied. If your business is performing like that, where your whatever your item you are manufacturing, out of that 95% are quality goods and 5% only you are rejecting, then you can say my business is a normal, because my confidence level is 95%. With this, I am concluding the journey of today's class. I am coming back to the platform to check, and that's all. If you have any doubt, you can write a mail to me, because time is over. I have concluded the discussion, and I am taking back to the Padlet platform, wherein all of you please go through whatever I have taught to you from that journey. You just refer and answer these questions. The first question is, in a perfectly symmetrically well-shaped curve, that is a normal business, normal distribution. Now you are in a position to give the answer. The arithmetic mean equal to median, the median equal to mode, arithmetic mean equal to mode, all of these. So which one is the correct answer? Because I have already told you what is the 5 important characteristics of a normal distribution or a normal business, and from that you have to give the answer. I want to check your concept. And third question, in general, which of the following descriptive summary measures cannot be easily approximated from the box plot? And to give the answer of this question, you need to go through and read the unit 3. That's why I have given this question to all of you. With this, I am concluding this webinar session, learning session, wherein I hope all of you have enjoyed the class. I would like to request once again you, because there is a minimum interaction with you. So that's why please, whatever your query is there, whatever you wanted to know, please write down here on the Padlet. I will answer here itself to all of you. Please write your reflection, your anything, whatever you have, please on this. With this, I am concluding the day. Thank you very much and enjoy your class. We will meet you tomorrow again.